Hey, good morning. I'm Dan Harris at ABC News World Headquarters in New York. This is an ABC News digital report developing right now. Early winter in much of America this weekend. They're digging out from record snow across the south, while in the Northeast, we're in for some frigid cold and heavy snow in some spots. ABC News senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is tracking it all. Snow in some parts of the Northeast.
Yeah, it's been snowing in some spots in eastern Massachusetts, and the wind's been blowing, as you know, outside here in New York where the marathon is happening. But before this storm got here, among other things, it dumped a bunch of snow across the south.
See that person waving at the camera, nearly 2 feet of snow? That's in the Tennessee mountains, where it looks like a scene from the middle of January. But now this is the beginning of November. Wet, heavy snow came a little earlier than usual there and in several other spots in the U.S. At Mount LeConte, the 22 inches of snow they received downed several trees and forced park officials to close roads in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Just to the east, frozen tree branches snapped power lines in the Carolinas, leaving 20,000 customers without electricity. If residents wanted to drive anywhere, they needed to bust out the snow scrapers.
So I got a text, and they asked me how much snow was in Saluda, and I said, what? So I opened up the door, and I was totally surprised.
At Boreal Mountain Resort in the Sierras, the snow is actually giving the upcoming ski season a jump start. In Southern California, heavy rains caused this mudslide in Camarillo Springs. And check this out in Utah. 80-mile-an-hour winds toppled this semi, blocking traffic for hours.
What's next for this one?
So this storm, as we discussed earlier, is heading to the Northeast. How bad is it going to be?
Well, it's actually strengthening. Take a look at the maps here. It's off the coastline, as you know, being from this area. When they get into the Gulf Stream, sometimes they'll strengthen. That's what's been going on. It'll quickly move off towards Maine, but before it does that, it's going to drop a decent amount of rain and snow, maybe even some snow accumulating somewhat in extreme eastern Mass, but the heaviest snow is going to be across northern Maine, where they could locally see up to a foot of snow. The winds are going to be the bigger issue. You'll feel those all the way back through Atlantic City and Philadelphia. These are the winds gusts here as we go through the afternoon and evening. 45 miles an hour in Nantucket. We've already seen winds gusting over 50 miles an hour across eastern Mass, so it's a pretty strong storm.
Suboptimal for the marathon in New York City.
Especially the route. I mean, most of the route is against that northerly wind, so it's been brutal out there for sure.
Reason number 752 why I will never run a marathon. Now, we've talked about the South, we've talked about the Northeast. What's going on out west?
Where the weather is typically more tame, we've got a storm that's rolling through there. It's heading into the Intermountain West, where we've got winter storm warnings that are posted for the higher elevations of the mountains, all the way from Idaho and Montana back through Colorado and the San Juans of Telluride. So locally over 6 inches of snow. There'll be some rain, of course, at the lower elevations as this storm pushes inland, and some gusty winds, potentially some flooding as well. We saw that in California. Most of the rain for the next system will be across the Pacific Northwest. So November 2nd, Dan, and obviously we're getting into a very active time of year.
So probably 6 months until we see the mid-70s or 80s here in New York City.
I'll consult the groundhog on that.
Yeah, right. The Farmer's Almanac.
That
right?
too.
Yeah,
that too.
I know that meteorologists don't love the Farmer's Almanac.
Embrace the season, Dan. It's here.
That's good advice. Harder to do. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
You got it.
And thank you for watching this ABC News Digital Report. Please stay tuned to ABC News throughout the day for the latest on this and other top stories. And we'll have much more later on World News Tonight. I'm Dan Harris. Enjoy your day.